Okay, people, so one of the big questions left on everyone's mind at the end of Boruto manga chapter 54 was, is Naruto dead, or what the heck happened? Why did Sasuke say what he said? And to be honest with you, I think I have an idea exactly what happened to Naruto at the end, but we got a lot to talk about with this chapter. The end of the battle against Borushiki. Of course, Ishiki was dusted off last chapter, so seemingly this little mini contained war is coming to a close, and yeah, a lot of things to discuss, so I'm not gonna waste your time with this intro, mate. Without further ado, let's talk some of that Boruto manga greatness! Yes, people. This chapter, I already know Sasuke fans are upset again. I know, I can feel it. You feel it? Yeah, the Sasuke fandom is angry. Let's do it. Make your move. That's how it be, though. Okay, so before we even jump into the chapter, I want to talk quickly about the cover color page. I briefly mentioned it in my spoiler video, but I want to talk about it again just for a smidge of a second, because man, that was probably the best cover page of the Boruto manga thus far, the best colored cover page, period, because yo, the drip, seeing Borushiki with that yellow, black, and blue, and it just looked fantastic, honestly. Like, I wish we would get more epically looking colored pages like that. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate and enjoy when they do the color pages of actual events in the manga, but when we get stuff like that genuinely reminds me of like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like, you know, clothing ad drip type of deal. Like, it really looks sick. Like, they could definitely do some really dope things with cover color pages like that, because it looked awesome. So chapter picks up for where the last one left off, with Boroshiki mentioning, oh, now that the Renegon is Renegon, y'all can't go nowhere, y'all trapped here. The space-time ninjutsu that Sasuke was able to use is no more. It's done. It's a Rizzy. So yeah, they're basically stuck. Although there was a couple things that contradicted, and because my memory is so bad, just to say right now, honestly, if you think about it, there's a possibility that Kawaki, now that we know, you know, towards the middle of the chapter, that Kawaki still has residual, basically Otsutsuki powers, and he's basically almost entirely Otsutsuki at this point because of the reprogramming and shit like that, the 80% or whatnot. Probably at some given point, Kawaki could eventually manifest those powers again, so they probably weren't completely going to be stuck. Think like, it kind of reminds me in a very strange way, and I don't think that it was actually influenced by this, but this is what comes to mind, of like when Piccolo thought he was stuck in the hyperbolic time chamber with Gotenks, and then they went Super Saiyan 3 and blasted a hole out. And again, I know you're probably thinking, how does that compare? In my mind, it does. I don't know. Anyway, let's carry on. But Sasuke mentions that Boruto's wrist is healed, and it seems as though he's been completely healed due to Momoshiki, or, you know, the Boroshiki transformation, which is interesting, right? Going into a little bit of the anime's lore real quickly, because one of the things was the compression Rasengan. In order for Boruto to use it, that was again an anime exclusive thing. It was like a new Rasengan that he came up with. The problem with that is that it destroyed his arm really badly. But if Boruto is able to use this Momoshiki transformation at will, and able to control it, and able to heal himself, then he could possibly in the future use the compression Rasengan. Big brain theories there, hey! But Kishimoto's writing style starts to very obviously show itself in this chapter. We're gonna probably mention it a couple different times throughout this video, but one of the things is we start off with a flashback of Kawaki thinking about the time him and Boruto were talking about getting the karma mark off them and defeating Jigen, and that's classic Kishimoto. Like, honestly, I'm starting to notice, oh, Kishimoto, his writing is really apparent, because y'all know Naruto was infamous for the flashback no jutsu, and yeah, we seen it in this chapter. So I mean, I guess that's clear indication to a certain degree, like, oh yeah, Kishimoto really is writing this, because there was a little bit of back and forth for people thinking like maybe he's just on paper, maybe he's not. No, that's Kishimoto flashbacks to kind of get you a little more emotionally engaged and really emphasize on the fact that there's a relationship and a brotherly bond between Boruto and Kawaki, which I must say, to be honest with you, and it's not that I'm saying Boruto did it better or anything like that. Well, maybe I am, I don't know, but Boruto and Kawaki's relationship of like a brotherly relationship does feel a lot more authentic in the beginning stages that we're in right now, opposed to like Naruto and Sasuke's, where they had a couple of missions together. Naruto, you know, threw himself in front of Zabuza or whatever, and that's how their bond really became strong. This one, Boruto and Kawaki from the days of, you know, the vase and stuff, which we get a flashback of that later on in the chapter too, but it really feels like an authentic brotherly love type of feel, opposed to like Naruto and Sasuke in the beginning that, Sasuke was just always an asshole and a dick. But Boroshiki tells Kawaki to be excited. Ishiki's soul has been extinguished. So, I don't know. This chapter really makes me think that, no, Ishiki is gone for good. I mean, there's the possibility of like an Orochimaru type of thing where you think he's gone, but somehow, some way, he's able to come back, because to be honest with you, that's what I've been looking at Boruto as, with like Ishiki being like an Orochimaru and Amado being a Kabuto, just saying. But then Boroshiki says something, and I don't know if he was referring to Boruto or he was talking directly to Kawaki, because he says something along the lines of, well, in your case, freedom is fleeting. So I'm not sure what he meant by that. Was he talking about the fact that Boruto, his freedom is fleeting, that, Boroshiki or Momoshiki is going to take complete control and put him in captivity? Or was he talking to Kawaki that at some given point, because Ishiki had, implanted karma on him, his freedom is fleeting because Ishiki will return at some given point? But then that would kind of contradict what he said just moments before when he was like, oh, Ishiki's soul has been extinguished. So I was a little bit confused on that one. I guess it makes more sense that he was talking to, Boruto, but yeah, that was just a little bit like, huh? But then Kawaki uses that arm power that he hasn't used in a really long time, and to be honest with you, I thought that he was not able to use that. I'm a little bit confused because it's been a while. Like when he lost his arm, I thought that once he lost his arm, he was not going to be able to use, remember, because I think it was the other arm, the prosthetic arm of that he used that power, but he uses that arm technique of stretching his arm, and we get a little bit of a Boruto versus Kawaki. To be honest with you, if we're still going on under the pretense that this is kind of a recreation of part 1 of Naruto, it's kind of like a spin-off slash remake, it's disguised as a spin-off, but it's a remake, then technically this would have been like the Naruto versus Sasuke part 1 fight with Boruto versus Kawaki, except again, Boruto is the Sasuke situation, and the Momoshiki possession would be like the curse mark, and Kawaki would be the Naruto of the situation, because they go at it for a little bit, and Kawaki gets stabbed in the back, and I'm like, god damn, that kunai went in. So yeah, Kawaki, I mean, at the very least, you could give him some props that, he's just starting to learn ninjutsu, he doesn't have karma anymore, and he was trying his best to at least stay alive against Boroshiki. But then Boroshiki says something else that kind of really adds to the plot of things, and also adds more to when you think back to, like, the very first chapter episode of, Boruto versus Kawaki and them having the karma mark, because he says the extraction went quite well, it should work, and I'm thinking, what? But then the very next page he explains that basically the data in his body from the karma making him go 80% has made it that almost his entire body is already like an Otsutsuki. He's basically almost an Otsutsuki DNA wise, so even though Ishiki is not there, basically already almost there to be like an Otsutsuki. And that was one of the things where Boroshiki's like, bam, I could use him as a sacrifice to the tree, even if it'll make a small tree, because he's only 80%, it'll bear some type of fruit, which this is really wild. That is basically their objective. The goal of these aliens is to basically eat some fruit from a plant. Like, yeah, Toriko. No. But that also adds to what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. In the beginning of this story, we thought that, like, oh, Momoshiki and Ishiki have to be inside of Boruto and Kawaki because they got the karma mark. Well, if it's going according to this type of idea, then that means that they don't necessarily need to be there. It could be that their bodies just stood 80% and maybe even evolved to 100% without having the Otsutsuki programming that is taking control, or it could just be that we're missing information, and yeah, Ishiki can come back if it goes to 100%, so not really sure there. But either way, him talking about wanting to get the 10 tails and sacrifice Kawaki to the tree, so essentially they had the same idea, Momoshiki and Ishiki. Momoshiki's like, bam, we'll use Kawaki, Ishiki's like, bam, we use Boruto. So it's kind of like two aliens trying to decide, well, which kid are we going to sacrifice to the crazy man-eating plant? But then we cut to one of the things that already is like, whoa, what's going on here? Naruto says that his body feels like lead, and he passes out there, and they're like, no! Oh! Him saying his body feels like lead, it kind of sounds a little bit medical-wise, and again, I gotta keep on using as reference, there are those novels that talk about Naruto fighting a deadly disease that is essentially killing him. We talked about it, I want to say, 2 years ago now. We dove deep into those novels. This could be the beginnings of it, and again, I think those novels chronologically took place at a different time period, but it would make sense for those novels to be an inspiration to this, where Naruto doesn't exactly die, but there's something wrong with him. And again, I'm going to get to my theory of what exactly. I think I figured it out for the most part why Sasuke said what he said at the end of this chapter, but we'll get to it. But either way, my body feels like lead. No! But Sasuke charges Borushiki, and it's crazy. Like, this really showcases the strength of this Otsutsuki shit, like this whole possession and whatnot, because he charges him with a freaking sword, you know, Sasuke's sword, and Borushiki stops it with a kunai. Now, again, here comes the Sasuke fandom, and I get that you're upset. I totally get it. I'm a little upset seeing that, like, yo, Sasuke being outclassed, but it's not Boruto. People keep on acting like if it's just Boruto on his own and stopping Sasuke. It's a Otsutsuki possessed Boruto. We've seen the buildup at that of karma, of how strong it really is, and it's essentially almost like a damn cheat code and whatnot. So we've had buildup of how strong this power really is, and on top of that, Sasuke just got the dust kicked out of his ass against Ishiki Otsutsuki in the battle. He just lost an eye. He used all his chakra. Like, yeah, there is a little bit of downplaying on Sasuke. I'm not gonna deny that in terms of, like, yo, this shit. He even says a line in the chapter, again, that made, I'm sure, all of us laugh when he said, yo, I'm running low on chakra. Like, are the Japanese fans not complaining about the same things that we complaining about? Because I'm sure, like, we have just been on it about Sasuke saying, oh, he's low on chakra. Like, how low on chakra? What does he have, like a little handful of chakra in his whole body now? So I get that, but for the most part, he's had the living shit kicked out of him, fam. He's like, come on, how much do you expect this dude to be like a god of gods? Come on. But as far as the complaints that I've seen that I completely disagree with regarding them saying, oh, they're downplaying Sasuke's intelligence, no, because he catches on fairly quickly into what's going on with Boroshiki. The fact that he hits him with a jutsu and he doesn't absorb it. And then he tries a couple different times. He hits him with a materasu. He uses a shadow clone. He hits him with a fireball jutsu. He jumps out the way. Like, a couple of different times, it's like, holy shit, wait, what's going on here? Why is he doing this? And it clicks to him really quick. Oh, he's not absorbing jutsu, and it would make sense because Boruto passed out from not having chakra. If he gets more chakra, Boruto will wake up and stop the whole thing. So Sasuke's big brain intelligence is still there. I don't understand why people were saying, oh, Sasuke's real stupid now. No, like, Naruto's knocked the hell out, so I don't know what intelligence you're gonna talk about. He's knocked out. And then Sasuke figured out the dudes pretty quickly what's going on with Boroshiki. And I just gotta say before I forget, some of the art in this chapter, like, not everything. There was some panels that, for the most part, a lot of panels were, okay, you know, regular, typical art, whatever. But a lot of the Boroshiki panels looked so good. I gotta give it to the artist, Mikio Ikamoto. He is really doing the damn thing on some of these Boroshiki panels. You can tell he likes drawing Boroshiki because it looks pretty freaking good. But then even Kawaki notices something is wrong with Naruto. Now, granted, remember, Kawaki, he doesn't have all the capabilities of a regular shinobi. He's just now learning little things, how to use little jutsu and shit. So he can only basically look and see, like, yo, something's wrong with him. Like, he's passed out. There's something wrong. He can't completely discern what Sasuke might be able to, or just any Jonin from the village can understand of what's going on with Naruto, which, again, that goes into my theory, but we'll get it, I promise. But then we cut into Sasuke yet again saying that, okay, this is how he's going to do it, because obviously Boroshiki can't absorb jutsu. I'm going to force him to absorb jutsu to wake up Boruto and stop this whole malarkey that Boroshiki is doing. But yo, I am gonna lie, I gotta give props to Boroshiki. Gotta give props to a showcase of why this next gen is going to be so OP with this whole karma situation, because he even hits Sasuke with a vanishing Rasengan, and the look on Sasuke's face, I'm like, god damn, he looks like he could croak right there. So I gotta give props to the new generation. And the previous generation, Sasuke, Naruto, and them were so OP. They figured out a way where, yeah, maybe some people are gonna call it BS or whatever, but there's been so much buildup of it to add powers to, you know, Boruto and Kawaki, the two main protagonists, I guess, at this point of the Boruto story, to make it that they're actually credible and have potential of surpassing the previous gen with this karma stuff. Because if not, it would have just been like really an ass pull if Boruto just on regular merit and skill would have surpassed Naruto at the age of, like, you know, 12 or 13. You giving him this hack of karma that, again, has been integral to Boruto for a very long time now, pretty much since the beginning of the, you know, whole Momoshiki stuff. This is how he gets to that point of being stronger than his father and his predecessors. But then once again, Kawaki thinking back, and now we get, and again, like I said, Kishimoto's writing all the way. We got a flashback to the freaking vase. The vase gets a flashback, fam. Kawaki thinking back, which I get it. It's, you know, he's seen like his family member to him. You're looking at Boruto as family, and it's symbolic of the vase breaking and shit, and he's trying to put the family back together with the vase, you know. So it's all metaphoric. I get it, but the flashback shit, Kishimoto loves flashbacks, and I think in his mind when he does these things, it's really just to pull on the heartstrings. It's his way of getting emotional with you, of getting you nostalgic nostalgic for things you remember. So I'm imagining that's why Kishimoto loves the flashback. And then once again, we get a little more of Boruto versus Kawaki, and this time Kawaki allows Boroshiki, and I said Boruto, Boroshiki, you know what I'm talking about. He allows Boroshiki to hit him with flames, and he's burning the hell up, and Boroshiki's like, wait a minute, you didn't use a clone? So you could even imagine that basically Boroshiki's kind of holding back a bit. If he's saying like, wait a minute, he didn't use a clone, he was expecting him to use a clone and get out of that situation. And Kawaki, to get things done, which massive props to Kawaki, he allows, and this is off his own merit, he allows Boroshiki to hit him with burning flames because he's deducing like, well, Sasuke said this, so he's probably going to have to absorb, this is how I'm going to do it. So he took Sasuke's instructions, and Sasuke, what he basically said, and came up with his own plan of, this is how I'm going to get it done. And Boroshiki is forced to absorb the flames because this is supposed to be his 80% Otsutsuki sacrifice to the Ten Tails. And at that point, it was already a wrap. Like, Boroshiki got a little desperate. He was like, no, hold on, because at that point, once he absorbs the jutsu, Boruto starts to slowly wake up, and he tries to teleport out of there, but it was already a wrap. And I gotta give it to where the influence comes from when Boruto wakes up and breaks the horn. That was very Bleach, Ichigo, Hollow-esque. So yeah, the inspiration now is almost completely clear. A lot of people said once we got the first look at Karma and how the horn was coming out of the head and shit, people say, yo, that's Ichigo Hollow situation, like holy shit. Yeah, it definitely feels as though that was the influence to it. So yeah, it is what it is. But then after all of this of wake up, Boruto wakes up, puts basically Momoshiki back to sleep after breaking the horn, and then falls down like, yo fam, I'm tired. And then him and Kawaki have that really awesome scene which almost solidifies their bond when Boruto apologizes to him for being trouble, and Kawaki likewise apologizes. But then at the end of what Kawaki says is why I feel as though my theory video when I talked about Boruto being the bad guy and Kawaki being the good guy, Kawaki refers to him as a brother. He says, yeah, sorry bro, something like that. And I'm like, yo, that's really dope. Like, you can tell Kawaki idolizes everything about Naruto, including his ninja way, including his heart. So again, it's so hard for me to believe how Kawaki could go down a dark path when he wants to be just like the Seventh. So what would get him so far off that path when we've seen in this battle everything he's willing to do in order to do things like the Seventh and rescue the Seventh and the Seventh's family? And then the chapter ends off with Sasuke seeing Naruto one more time and saying, what the no way. And to be honest with you, I think it's very simple. I think exactly what it is like I said, Kawaki could understand that there was something wrong with Naruto, but not quite, because again, he's just developing his ninja, techniques and things like that. I think Sasuke, as he sees Naruto there passed out, probably can't sense Naruto's chakra anymore. I think Naruto's chakra has completely depleted there, disappeared, and it's almost as if he's dead. I don't think he's dead though, but I think that basically he can't sense Naruto's chakra anymore, even though he's right there. So he's probably assuming he died. But if he died, I think they would have did a grander thing than just like leaving us on this massive cliffhanger. And honestly, this chapter, a lot of action. I really wish that the anime didn't take so long to adapt things, because this is a type of situation that with the proper art and animation, this would be an amazing episode, even a two-parter if you really want to go there, because there's so many chapters to this, like the combat with Boruto and Kawaki, seeing Kawaki throwing everything on the line. This was epic. But I'm very curious what you guys think. The biggest question of it all, Naruto, is he dead? Is it my theory that basically his chakra completely vanished, and it's probably due to that lead feeling that Naruto has, because maybe his chakra is completely frozen on ice, and again, it's going into the whole illness situation that we've seen in the novels. Your thoughts of this battle? Are Sasuke fans really upset? Yeah, they probably are. Your overall thoughts and expectations moving forward into Boruto chapter 55 and beyond. Again, the time skip is only a matter of a chapter or two now. I know I've been saying that, but now it's like everything is over. They're gonna probably use Boruto, heal him up a little bit, get out of there, get back to Konoha, and yeah. Although, just want to throw in one more thing. We haven't seen Konoha. What if Amado's been running amok over there or some crazy shit happened? I mean, you never know. Yeah, it's gonna be another long, grueling wait after this epic an amazing chapter and seemingly the climax to this arc of Boruto. That's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And yo, is Naruto dead or what the hell are they doing to me? Have an awesome one. It's nights like this In times like this, that I can give another hit. But I've got this inside a switch, a natural bliss. But that I made